This is the next part of module 4 slides 3. So it's presentation 3, but I think it's module 4. So centering a block element, that's the first topic. One sec. Block elements can be centered horizontally within their parent element by setting both the left and right margins to auto. So it says body, then open a block, margin dash left, colon, space auto, semicolon. So it says margin dash right, colon, space auto, semicolon. So that's the body block. I'm not sure why it's a block element. It doesn't say anything about a block element. It just says body. So then it says vertical centering continued. Centering an element vertically can be accomplished by displaying the parent element as a table cell and setting the vertical dash align property to middle. So for example, to vertically center the following H1 heading within the div element. So that is, this looks like it's HTML. It says, didn't tell us what it, I think they tried to explain what a div was, but we didn't do that much div stuff, unless it's in the, could be in the notes. Or I think I did the book problems and there wasn't a div there yet. So it says angle bracket div, so open angle bracket div, close angle bracket, new line, indent, angle bracket H1, angle bracket. It says Fantasia chocolates, angle bracket slash H1, angle bracket, new line, angle bracket slash div, angle bracket. So div's an element. It says vertical centering. Apply the style rule. So apply the style rule. Okay, so div open a block. Height, colon, space, 40px. Semicolon. New line, display colon, space, table, dash, cell, semicolon. New line, vertical, dash, align. Colon, space, middle, semicolon, new line, close the block. But using this style rule, the H1 heading will be vertically centered. So what is div again? It's not explaining it. I think we did it before, but I forgot what div was. Oh, that was before the break, I guess. So here we have floating page content. Floating an element takes it out of position and places it along the left or right side of its parent element. So floating an element takes it out of position and places it along the left or right side of its parent element. To float an element, comma, apply. Float, colon, space, position, semicolon. To float an element, comma, apply. So float, colon, space, position, semicolon. Okay, so where position is none. And the default, comma, left to float the object on the left margin, or right to float the object on the right margin. To float an element, apply. Okay. So floating page content continued 1 for elements to be placed within a single row. The combined width of the elements cannot exceed the total width of their parent element. For elements to be placed within a single row. The combined width of the elements cannot exceed. Okay, so it's, if you're going to, you can put numbers that are more than the pixel width. Floating an element, original layout. They have, so there's 2 pages here. First page just says original layout, that's on the left. On the right it says element is floated on the right margin of the subsequent page content. Now it says element is floated on the right margin. Element is floated on the right. Element is floated on the right margin. Element is floated on the right margin, and the subsequent page content wraps around it. Element is floated. Okay, so it's just, that's all it says. It says floating page content continued to, now there's figure 3-13. Formatting hyperlinks in horizontal navigation lists. So it says a comment horizontal navigation styles. So you can use star comments in CSS. Then it says nav.horizontal navigation space li. Okay, so list, I guess. Then it says open a block. So it says display colon space block semicolon 6. I think that's the display style. And it's displayed as a block style. The new line, it says float colon space left semicolons like this. I think that just means float the list on the left. You have to see how it updates. So then it says, so close the block, then nav.horizontal navigation space A. So before it was nav.horizontal navigation space li, now it's nav.horizontal navigation space A open a block. So display colon space block semicolon. So it says, so if A refers to hypertext links, it says displays the link as a block. So it displays the link as a block. Displays the link as a block. Okay, so just the display style of this navigation. Nav.horizontal navigation A. It is displayed as a block. So display colon space block semicolon a new line. Text dash align colon space center semicolon. So centers the link within the block. Centers the link text within the block. Centers the link text within the block. Centers the link text within the block. So basically it's just text align is set to center. Now it has the chocolate website picture. So figure dash 314 links the body header. So Bandasia chocolates, and it says each hypertext link displayed as a block with a link text centered within the block. Link text centered within the block. So now it says clearing a float. So this isn't a float as a floating type. That is floating on the page, I think. To ensure that an element is also displayed below floating elements, use clear. Colon space position semicolon to ensure that an element is always displayed below floating elements. To ensure that an element is always to ensure that an element is always displayed below floated elements. So then it says use clear colon space position semicolon. Oops. Where position is left, comma right, comma both, comma or none. Okay. So clearing a float, continued one. So it says left. So left displays the element only. So left was left to left displays the element only when the left margin is clear of floating objects. Displays the element. Left displays the element only when the left margin is clear of floating objects. Okay, so next one is next one is right. So right dash displays the element only when the right margin is clear of floating objects. So right displays the element only when the right margin is clear of floating objects. Okay, the next one is both. Displays the element only when both margins are clear of floats. Next one is none. Displays the element alongside any floated objects. So here it says clearing a float continued to. Figure 3-15, so it says clearing a float. So original layout. Has some kind of orange box on the page to the left. Just doesn't say anything, just says original layout. It says floating an element. So there's another page that says floating an element on the right margin, so it just says float right. Then there's another little page thing that says last element is displayed once. Last element is displayed once the right margin is clear of floating objects. So you've kind of seen this at some things, where basically, I think it just puts it on the next line if there's no more room. Not exactly sure what they're trying to do here, so it says clearing a float. So now there's some code. It says figure -3-16, float the left and right column sections. So in comment it says left column styles. In a comment, then it says section. So this was what I was kind of confused on. I think they may have explained it in the earlier notes. I'll have to go back and check. So it says section hashtag left column. So what does the hashtag mean again? I forgot. And it says open a block. Kind of tricky. So it says then clear colon space left semicolon new line float. colon, space, left, semicolon, then new line width, colon, space, 33%, semicolon. So it says it displays the left column once the left margin is clear of previously floated elements. Displays the left column. That's all that it says. That's pointing to clear. So floats the left column on the left margin with a width of 33% of the page body. Okay. Floats the left column on the left margin with a width of 33% of the page body. So that's pointing after the clear. Then it says, comment, right column styles. So floats the right column alongside the left column with a width of 67%. So it says section hashtag right column. Open a block. So float colon space left semicolon space semicolon, then new line width colon space 67% semicolon. So check what the hashtag means. You have to check the previous notes again. Is that an identifier or was that an element? A class or something? You'll have to check that. I don't think the book explained it that well. Maybe I'm not sure if the notes even went over it. If not, you'll have to ask ChatGPT. The next one is clearing a float. So layout of the left and right column. So this is figure 3-18. So it's just showing what happened with that. It says left column occupies 33% of the width of the page body. Then it says right column occupies 67% of the width. Okay, so it's okay, so I think the columns here are actually just the pieces of the page itself are just divided into just divided into two columns. I think so, but it's kind of tricky. It's not really explaining, it's just not really showing it that well. You'll have to practice the examples again to practice what I think is the best way to do this. There might have been a part that we missed here. There's two pages here, figure dash 316 that we did, left columns and right column styles. Left column styles and right column styles, and it says figure 3-17, so it says right column styles and a comment then. So this is just right column styles. That's, I think it's just more detailed. The right one has more detail to it. So it says section hashtag right columns. That's where we already did that. So it says section hashtag right column space img open a block. So it says display colon space block semicolon new line then width colon space 100% semicolon. Close the block so it says displays every image in the right column as a block with a width equal to the width of its parent element. So it displays every image in the right column as a block with a width. So it displays every image in there. So this is the right column's image section, hashtag right column, and then this is the right column's image. So it says displays every image in the right column as a block with a width equal to the width of its parent element. Displays every image in the right column as a block. With a width equal to the width of the parent element. Then it says below that sets the width of each list item to 25% of the width of the navigation list. Okay, so I haven't described what it's saying or what the code is. So it says section hashtag right column space greater than space nav dot horizontal navigation space li open a block. So it says width colon space 25% semicolon. So that sets the width of each list item to 25% of the width of the navigation list. That was the part that I missed. Then it shows us the page again. It says left column occupies 33% of the width of the page body. So that's what we did. Then it says right column occupies 67% of the width. I don't know why. I think it should just been the page body, because I think 33 plus 67 is 100%. Or they're just trying to confuse you, or just being dumb. Then it says horizontal navigation list with each image and label set to 25% of the list width. Okay, so now it's saying list width, so it's starting to get confusing. There's the page width, which is the width, I guess what they're saying. Or if they're just trying to confuse you, not sure, so they're saying that it's a page body. Width of the page body, and then of the width, so I think that the width just refers to the whole width. Then it's saying 25% of the list width, so the list has its own width. Then it's saying 25% of that. If that makes sense. So now, it's 20%, 25% of that 67% gets split into 4. It's like a fraction. And those were the images. They're split into 25% of that. I think that's what they're saying. The next part is refining a floated layout. It's a content box model. The width property refers to the width of an element content only. So it says additional space includes padding or borders. Border box model, the width property is based on the sum of the content padding and border spaces. Additional space taken up by the padding and border is subtracted from space given to the content. So this is just stuff we'll have to listen to for theory stuff. To refining a floated layout. Continued one. So it says the layout model can be chosen using box dash sizing :space type semicolon, where type is content dash box, the default, which is the default. Content dash box is the default. The type is content box, which is the default. Border box or inherit, to inherit the property defined for the elements container. So it's getting confusing kind of here. But there's box. Layout model can be chosen using box sizing. Where type is the content box, border box, or inherit. This is refining a floated layout. Continued to, there's a figure here, figure 3-21, comparing the content box and border box models. It says content box model. So it looks like an Earth's crust core and all that, but it's square. To the middle there's a bunch of rectangles with different sizes in another. In this case there's 3 of them. The smallest one in the middle. Well, okay, let's just say what the biggest one is. The biggest one is 5px. That's the layer around the other 2 rectangles. So it says content box model. So the total width is 230px. So that's of all the rectangles, or just the full rectangle from the left to width. Or we can think of the 3 as 1. So I think perhaps it's all of them combined. The one on the left, the one on the outside is 5px, and there's one within that which is 10px, and there's one within that that's 200px. So the diagram looks different than what it says, because the inside has the most pixels, but it's actually the smallest. rectangle, so it might not be showing what it actually should be. Or it's just a different kind of view of it. That's a content box model. And there's a border box model. Not sure what those are. Or it's the same thing, except the whole rectangle's width total now is 200px. Of the three combined, the one on the outside's 5px, the one in the middle is 10px, and the one on the very inside is 170px. Down on the left it says style properties, width 200px, padding 10px, border 5px, so that's what they are. There's the width, padding, and the border. It's probably done at this time. Let's see what this is. 1 sec, I'll just check the time.